So let's talk about Dionne Jackson Miller. So Dionne Jackson Miller, she's been having a rough couple of weeks ever since the election and the statement that she made about the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Dr. Andrew Holness, saying that with this third term, he should think of resigning before he lose the next election because he wants to go out as a winner. And ever since then, she's been getting beaten from all angles. It's like everywhere she turn, Makajukar. So she did a video this week talking about the People's National Party. Because one thing with this media space today, unlike back in the days, now we have social media, we have podcasts, and everything that you say is heavily scrutinized. So 1 minute, the Labour writer cuss her, then the next minute, the PNP cuss her. So she did a video this week talking about the opposition party and what Mark Golding and the opposition party would have to do if they ever want to win a next election and be in government. And the PNP are out and they are criticizing her. So a few weeks ago, she was criticized by the people, the supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party. And now, People's National Party supporters, they are criticizing her for her opinion in the latest video that she did. So in her latest video, she gave a list of 3 things that the People's National Party would have to do to even have a chance of winning the next election. And covering the election in 2025, what I've learned is that when you are a diehard PNP or a diehard JLP, the last thing you want from anybody is advice or constructive criticism on what the party could have done better. And so I don't know how people are going to take this, but as I said, PNP cussing her out, Labour had cussing her out, so I think the trend is going to continue. But number one, the first thing that Dionne Jackson Miller thinks that the People's National Party would have to do to have a chance in the next election, this is what she had to say.
First thing the PNP needs to think about, it has to let go of the wait your turn mentality. What am I talking about? It's this idea says so-and-so time now, so-and-so time now, and that younger people have to wait their turn for leadership. It's an old-fashioned idea. It's old school. It's sunk the PNP before, and it's going to sink them again if they don't let go of it. Let me give you one example. Politics is kind of like track in a way, right? You have your window of time in which you can dominate and lead. If you miss your window, you can still run, but you're not going to win. For instance, I thought Peter Phillips would have made a good prime minister, right? But Phillips missed his window because Portia beat him twice. Both of them had the same window, but she got it instead of him. Now, what the PNP should have done when Portia was stepping down was to leapfrog over Phillips and go to another leader, a newer, fresher leader who could have ignited the population's interest and who could have won it for the PNP. Instead, what you are getting from the parties, boy, Phillips' time now, give him a chance, and he led the party to a big loss. So the PNP now has to look at its top-tier leadership now and decide what's going to be happening and what it's going to be doing. Is it going to be rewarding loyalty, years of service, or looking at who the electorate is likely to want to lead the country? And just to be clear, saying that you're looking at a leader that the electorate wants as prime minister doesn't mean that person is going to be a bad leader. It means you're introducing another very important metric into the conversation. And for the PNP supporters who are saying, predictably, boy, we get to choose who run the party, you are 100% correct. Because I remember JLP supporters used to say the same thing when Mr. Seaga was leader of the party, and look where it got them. So go on, carry on with that.
So that was number one. And what is interesting, since covering the election, what I realized is that Dionne Jackson Miller and myself, I think we pretty much have similar ideas of what is really going on in politics, because we kind of see eye to eye on most things. And that is what I've been saying even before the election, is that, look, a lot of people have dreams to be prime minister, and a lot of people hold on too long. And I reference Mr. Edward Seaga also, that Edward Seaga was the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party for 30 years, and he only won 2 elections. And I mentioned the 4 election that he lost. He lost 4 straight elections from the People's National Party, getting beat down by the People's National Party. 4 back-to-back-to-back election. And he And he lost all of those because he was stubborn. He wanted to stay on. And many people felt that if he had stepped down a long time and put someone like David Panton and Bruce Golding at the time, then the Jamaica Labour Party wouldn't have lost so many elections. And finally, when Edward Seaga learned his lesson and stepped down and handed over to Bruce Golding just came back and won that election. So the People's National Party, they're going to have to learn, because I'm still of the opinion that I don't believe that Mark Golding is going to be the next Prime Minister of Jamaica. I don't know if it can be a situation where Lisa Anna can come back in the party and take up leadership and win the next election. Something similar to what happened, because remember, Bruce Golding left. Bruce Golding formed the NDM, and then when Edward Seaga learned his lesson, he went back and they mend their differences, and Bruce Golding came back to the Jamaica Labour Party and became the next Prime Minister. So I don't know if something like that can happen with Lisa Anna, or it's going to be like Damian Crawford or someone. But I don't think it's going to be Mark Golding. And people are talking about Peter Bunting. I don't think it's going to be Peter Bunting either. I think the way politics is looking now, they want a young, fresh politician, someone with a different idea, a different type of mindset to come in and to bring the party forward. And we saw that with the Jamaica Labour Party, and I believe that is what the People's National Party, they're going to have to make up their mind. Do you want to win an election, or do you want to stay with Mark Golding and keep on losing? And that is just my opinion. But I honestly do not think that Mark Golding is going to be the next Prime Minister of Jamaica. So, number 2.
Second thing the PNP has to do, it has to learn to have internal elections without turning them into civil war. Now, I'm not one of those people who say that parties shouldn't have elections and challenges and everything should be by acclamation. I don't believe that. I don't think there was anything wrong with Peter Bunting challenging Peter Phillips for the presidency of the party. There's nothing wrong with organizations wanting to renew themselves. There's nothing wrong with leaders being challenged. The problem with the PNP is that every time they have a leadership challenge, it seems to split them right down the middle and then can't heal. The PNP needs to learn how to have these elections. People need to compete robustly, right? They need to win gracefully, lose gracefully, and come back together when the election done. Because if Mark Golding decides to stay on as PNP president, I would be very surprised if he makes it through the next 5 years without a challenge, right? So they need to sort that out.
That was number 2 from Dionne Jackson Miller, internal election. To have an internal election and make it not be so toxic that after the internal election that the party just broken into many pieces. And we also agree on this. I believe that internal election should be encouraged. It should be like, if you're not the party in government, that means I believe that automatically you should have an internal election, because if you go up against the governing party and you lose the election, I believe that it should be encouraged to just say, look, let's have an internal election, let the delegates choose. And if you are the most popular and the most loved person in the party, I don't think you should have anything to worry about, because then you'll be confident enough to win. And that is what I see is happening right now. I don't think Mark Golding is confident enough that even if he go up against Damian Crawford, that he could beat Damian Crawford. So because of that, now it just seems like they are doing everything to discourage anyone from challenging Mark Golding. And I think that is a bad move. I personally believe, as I said, if Mark Golding is not challenged for the leadership of the party and he stays, he's not going to win the next election. And that is the only thing that I disagree with Dionne Jackson Miller on. She, in the clip, she said that, look, she's not sure yet if Mark Golding should exit leadership of the party. I think that Mark Golding should not be the leader. I think someone young and fresh ideas. Mark Golding, and one of the things that people think that, okay, Mark Golding is going to have to step aside or leave politics. Not necessarily. You can still be the MP for your constituency. You can still be there to provide support, because like if you are the mature person in the party and you put up someone young like a Damian Crawford or a Nikisha Burchell, just putting out some name out there. So some young person that will come and inject life into the party. If you do that and you get the most popular, young, dynamic person and put them up front, as an elder person, you can still be there to give support and to mentor. So it's not like if you're not the leader, you're out in the wilderness. And I think that is what a lot of people don't understand with politics. We have seen in a lot of countries, especially in the Caribbean, we have seen leaders of the party that was prime minister before and they lost an election, and we see a challenge and they lost, and they still stay as MP and they still service their constituency. So I believe that, as I said, the challenge should be encouraged, and if Mark Golding is not challenged within the next 2 years, I just think they're just handing the Jamaica Labour Party a fourth term. And that is just my opinion.
The third thing the PNP needs to bear in mind is that its shadow cabinet needs to work. Normally what happens when a shadow cabinet is announced is that it does get a lot of press, right? Because by that time, news kind of start to slow down, especially if the government doesn't change. So there isn't a lot going on right now. So it gets a whole heap of press. Who got this portfolio? Who got that portfolio? And then after that, cricket.
So the third and final thing that Dionne Jackson Miller believed that the People's National Party would have to do in order to win the next election is the shadow cabinet. The shadow cabinet ministers that they have to work, and they have to work for the 5 years. Don't just jump in and start doing in the early stage and then phase out. And yes, I can agree with that. But I also believe that the new MPs, that they need to have like a presence in their community. Because sometimes we have seen that a lot of times when the new MPs come in and they win their seat, and then you don't see them until the next election. And for example, I saw something that Nikisha Burchell is doing, that she brought the MP office to the community because her constituency, she said it's a very big constituency and it's very difficult for people to come to the office. So she took the office to them. And I believe that is an amazing idea, and a lot more member of parliament should do that. Because we have a thing in Jamaica where you only see the MP when election time, and that is not good. So I believe that is something that they could also do. They could also keep a presence on social media. Because I know even the opposition leader alluded to it, that the election thing now is like a popularity contest, but you have to understand, this is not like the 1980s type of politics. This is different. And we see the Prime Minister of Jamaica, his social media game is like on point. We see Lisa on a social media game. So the next person or the person that want to challenge the Prime Minister of Jamaica, you're going to have a social media presence, a huge presence on social media. Because Andrew Holness is out there like every single day. They're posting something on social media. So his name is out there all the time. Image of him is out there all the time. And it's not just when election you see him out there. He's out there 24/7 because of social media, engaging with people and just being there on social media all the time. So I think that is something that the next leader or anyone who wants to challenge the Prime Minister of Jamaica for the next election, they're going to have to step up their social media game. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think that Dionne Jackson Miller, do you think people giving her a hard time? Because as I said, I believe that Dionne Jackson Miller she's very balanced in her coverage when she's covering politics. I think she's one of the ones that she's more balanced. But in the day and age that we're living in, it's like you have to pick a side. You're PNP or you're GLP. And you can't be objective in any way. Like PNP, if you're GLP, there's nothing good that the People's National Party can do. And if you're a PNP, there's nothing good that the Jamaica Labour Party can do. And I think that covering election and talking about our country, we have to do better than that. But as I said, I believe that Dionne Jackson Miller, she is a very good journalist. But, that is just my opinion. Sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you think that she have a point in the three things that she pointed out that the People's National Party would have to work on in order to win the next election. Sound off, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.